敵のベルトを捕まえるっていう。敵のベルトを捕まえる。敵の弱みを捕まえるってそんな意味かな。
Put another way, what you want to do is you don't want to establish positions out there. And when they did defensively, for example, like at Hamburger Hill, wham, they get hit.
ハンバーガーヒルってどこだっけ？ハンバーガーヒルって何かあったの？
映画ありました。
どこだっけ場所？
それは覚えてませんけど。丘を巡って戦いやっていっぱい死ぬんですよ。
どこだっけハンバーガーヒルって。ちょっと待ってね、ハンバーガーヒル。今のどこ行った？これじゃないよ。これか。スペルが違う。ハンバーガー、A かな。Oh my god. バーガー。ブーグ。ブーグ。映画はこれなんだったっけな。あ、南ベトナムのね、丘
ですよね。
攻防戦。そう。これやっぱりさ、ハンバーガーヒル。
Hit by lots of air. But if you're in a tactical situation, you close with the enemy. You intermingle your forces with his.
インターミングルってごちゃごちゃになるっていう意味だと。混ざり合うと。インターミングル。そうだ。混ざり合わせる。ごちゃごちゃになる。インターミングル。まあいいか。書いておくか。混ざり合う。インターミングル。
So they can't bring air power to bear without.
Can't bring air power っていうのは敵味方がごちゃごちゃになってから空爆できないっていうな。
Hurting their own troops.
Free from U.S. bombs.
そうだよね。アメリカ軍が入ってってベトコンが近くに寄り添ってると空爆できないよね。
launches Sun Tzu-inspired guerrilla attacks against Americans on the ground. Ambushes, hand grenade booby traps,
hand generate グレネード、これは主流だな、グレネード。ブービートラップ、ブービートラップなんだっけ、これはなんだっけ、ブービートラップって言葉がありそうだね。
ありますね。バンブートラップじゃないんだ。
うん、ブービートラップなんだ。ブービー爆弾、仕掛け地雷。これは知らないな、罠。策略。この時もこれ知らなかったね。ブービートラップ。
and snipers.
What Jap starts to do is
これジャップって言ってるけど間違えてんだな、この人。日本のことをジャップって言うでしょ。ベトナム人はジャップと言わない。もうさっきもジャップって言ってるけど違うよね。
close-in harassing raids against the Americans.
このウェイトって比率だよね。クローズと近く。
Sun Tzu likes this idea because by forcing the enemy to maneuver to respond to you, he reveals strengths and weaknesses. And the more you know about his strengths and weaknesses, the more you can avoid the strengths and attack and exploit the weaknesses.
The major U.S. weakness in this war is not on the battlefield. The major
weakness はバトル
U.S.
フィール
weakness in this
ドじゃなかった。
war is not on the battlefield.
Now, our weakness was not in Vietnam. We never lost anything in Vietnam. We lost no engagements in Vietnam.
まだベトナムでは負けてなかったと言ってるんだよ、このおっさんね。
But we did lose in the resolution of the American people to pursue the war. Jap realized this from the very start,
ジャップって言ってるよね。
出るよね。
and he did not try to defeat us in Vietnam. He tried to defeat us in the United States.
Jiao knows that if he can turn the American people against the war, he can defeat the overpowering U.S. military. In the beginning of the war, nearly 80% of Americans supported the military action in Vietnam. Between 1965 and 1967, President Johnson increases troop strength dramatically from 190,000 to almost 500,000. But more soldiers means more casualties.
Between 1959 and 1965, the U.S. had suffered 2,000 battle deaths. But then in 1966, it jumped to 6,000, and then in 1967, it jumped to 11,000. And this was because Westmoreland was enacting an attrition-based strategy.
Nutrition ってなんだっけ。栄養失調じゃなかったかな。そうだよね、栄養失調だね。なんでニュートリションって言うんだろうね。でなくて法制化する。
He wanted to take the battle to the North Vietnamese and try to kill as many of their soldiers as possible. And of course, This led to higher casualties among the Americans.
結局ベトナム人を殺そうとしたけどアメリカ兵もいっぱい死んだ。
Ignoring the rising death toll and the potential political backlash, Westmoreland persists with his chess-like strategy.
One does not win wars by winning battles. That's a very archaic concept. The Romans
これね、アーカイクと古風な古いアーカイクコンセプト。昔の考え。
learned this. They fought for 40 years in Spain. They fought for 30 years in England and still couldn't subdue the insurgencies. Battles and military operations are nothing more than means to an end. Means to the achievement of strategic goals. Okay? Those goals, by the way, are often political. What often happens to military men is they, as we used to say in the army, you dance with who brung you. They're military guys. They got one trick. Their trick is war. Okay, and what happens, and happens to us now, is that essentially the war and the battles become an end in itself without any consideration of whether or not it leads to the ultimate strategic goal of breaking
結局オルティメイトストラテジックゴールが
the will of the
な
enemy.
い。Breaking the will of the enemy. まあ
But no matter how bloody the battlefield gets,
要するに目的のない戦いだったと。
the Vietnamese will is never broken.
だからベトナム人の意思をくじこうということだけど never Vietnamese will is never broken.
Giap famously claims he's willing to lose 10 men for every one American. Many North Vietnamese troops wear a tattoo that says, "Born in the North, to die in the South." And it's this difference that Giap knows will allow him to defeat the Americans, who now have more than 500,000 soldiers in Vietnam. Defeat the Americans, who now have more than 500,000 soldiers
アメリカ軍がね50万人
in Vietnam, many of whom don't want to be there.
Believe me, all conscripts want to do
Believe me, all conscript って徴兵だね徴集兵
is get the hell out of country. You know, everybody arrives with what we call their DEROS date, date of expected
Duelist
You know, everybody arrives with what we call their DEROS date, date of expected return overseas. You know, everybody arrives with what we call their DEROS date.
わかんない Call their Delost Delost わかんない
Date of expected return overseas. You know, scratch somewhere across your forehead. This is when I get to go home. And it's very hard to train them to do the kind of stuff that Special Operations Forces have to do.
これトランプがベトナム戦争の徴兵拒否したの知ってた
あ、それ知らないです。
徴兵拒否したのあれもそうだよねクリントンもね何回も拒否した
In order to fight an insurgency. So
こういうふうな人たちって中東もそうだけどアメリカ人軍元兵士がアメリカ帰ってきてすごいいっぱい自殺してんだよね
そうですよ PTSD とかさ
やっぱりなんとそういう恐怖感なんだねきっと、頭おかしくなっちゃう
アフガン戦争から帰ってきての待機兵士の犯罪率とかなんか自殺率って高いですよ
だから、ね、ベトナム戦争死んだ数よりも帰ってきて死んだやつが多いね自殺したやつの多い数が多いってねでしょ
You put it all together, and it's a failure of strategic thinking a failure to appreciate the cultural context in which things occurred, and inevitably deduce from that a failure
リデュース、推論する。
to develop tactics that are effective.
To combat Giap's guerrilla insurgency, Westmoreland launches search and destroy missions throughout South Vietnam.
サーチャンディストレイミッション。調べて壊すミッション。
He believes he is successfully rooting out Giap's Viet Cong
根こそぎ、ベトコンを根こそぎにする。ルーティングアウト。テロを根絶する。
insurgents. But a Pentagon report released after the war shows just how wrong he actually was.
ということでね。これぐらいにしようか今日。23分。疲れちゃった。はあ、23分。